So the way that I like to think about this, and the way that I'm enticing you to think about as well, is to think about meetings, not millions. Because I have a little exercise here, right? Try to picture 500,000 golf balls in your mind. Try to close your eyes and try to picture what 500,000 golf balls looks like. Like literally, let's all close our eyes and let's just try to picture what that looks like. So it's actually impossible, right? You cannot picture that big of a number. It's literally impossible for us to wrap our heads around that big of a number. And the reason for that is just because there's no real evolutionary reason for us to understand what 500,000 is, right? It's a number that we never see. So we don't understand, we don't have a grasp. And when you don't have a grasp for it, you can't go after it because you don't even understand what you're going after. So if you don't know what you're going after, how can you go after it, right? You can't even comprehend it. So what we're going to do instead is focus on numbers that we can control and we can understand. So how many meetings is it going to take me to raise the amount of money, right? So let's focus, right? Let's focus on meetings so that we can tee it up and actually knock it out of the park. So here's the case study. 500,000 in my first 4 months. So let's all just sit with that $500,000 number again. And it may seem very intimidating right now, but I want you guys to think about the 500,000 now, and then I'm going to show you how many meetings per week, how many investors, and you're going to see that everyone here can do this, right? So let's go. 50 meetings, 3 a week, 8 investors, 16 weeks, 4 months. So who here can meet with 50 people? I think everyone here can meet with 50 people. It's really that simple. I don't know anyone in this webinar who can't meet with 50 people. 500,000 may seem super intimidating, 4 months may seem super fast, but 50 meetings, just 3 a week, like 3 a week is pretty easy. You get to take 4 days off, right? Like that's really not that intense. And maybe you have them all in one day. Maybe you have Monday, you have 3 meetings, and then you don't do anything the rest of the week. That's completely fine. So 50 meetings, 3 per week. You only need 8 people to invest, right? So I only need 8 people to believe in multifamily and to like multifamily and to like the presentation. So that's really not that complicated. Instead of 500,000, now we're thinking like, man, 8 people? There's 7 billion people. We can probably find 8, right? So how long to your first $1 million deal? That's the real question, right? How long do you think it's going to take? Type that in and think about how long you think it's actually going to take you. And I guarantee you that when you see these tabs come up, you'll realize, man, this is pretty crazy. It's actually a lot closer than I think. So a lot of people are probably thinking, 6 months, maybe a year. But let's see here. So how much money am I going to need to raise? How many meetings? How many yeses? How many meetings per week? So yeah, we're going to need $250,000. We're going to need 30 meetings, 5 yeses, 3 per week, 10 weeks. It's only 10 weeks. 10 weeks of your life, right? Be consistent for 10 weeks and look at what will happen to your life, I promise. It's a really crazy situation when you are consistent in life with just action over time. Because it's crazy how we often do this thing where we see success and we just end up being like, oh, that guy's special. Oh, that person's doing something. They're just unique. They're talented. That's not true at all. It's literally just someone did something really small for a long period of time. And then eventually, you see the end result and you think that, oh, that person's a brilliant genius. And absolutely not, right? They just met with 30 people, right? Like anyone here can meet with 30 people. It's really that simple. And even like the yeses is the most yeses, right? So 5 at 50K is 5 yeses. But if you get 2 people at 100K and 1 at 50K, then you only need 3 people. So 3 to 5 people. I think everyone here can find 3 to 5 people out of 7 billion. So how do I get these meetings? Because now we've talked about how many you need, but we need to know how to actually get these things. Let's break it down into bite-sized actions that we can comprehend. So we have daily actions. The daily actions is 3 emails or direct messages a day on BiggerPockets and LinkedIn. And so you may be thinking that this is kind of a joke, like, oh, 3 emails, that's not going to get me any results. Well, guess what? I actually have anecdotal evidence that it does. One of my partners, Nick Ameluxon, we were doing a deal in Austin together. He actually has 200 units in Austin in 1 year. He did it all last year. And he was a mechanic at Audi. So he was a car mechanic, and he met his partner, Mark, on BiggerPockets by doing this strategy. And Mark bought all 200 units in 1 year for Nick. And Nick runs them, Nick manages them, but he went from an Audi mechanic to now a full-time investor because of this strategy. So it does work. And if you're wondering what to say in these, basically what you want to say is right out of the get-go, you want to tell the person what you can do for them. You want to make this about what you can do for them. Not, hey, I'm this guy, I'm super cool, Or, hey, how can I help you in some vague way? Like, absolutely not. You want to know exactly what your skill set is and how it's going to benefit the individual, and then send them an email or a DM or direct message letting them know what that exact skill set is and how you can help them. And it's that simple. So weekly actions. You're going to attend one meetup or event per week, and you're going to interact or give your business card with at least 5 people. Then you're going to follow up with all people you exchange business cards with, and you're going to schedule 3 meetings on Zoom, phone, or in person. So by going to one meetup and meeting 5 people, and then following up with those individuals, as well as sending these 3 a day, you should be at around 21 from the DMs and 20, and then 5, so 26 total contacts a week. And all you need is 3 meetings. So 3 meetings out of those 26 interactions. I think that's pretty doable as well. So if you're nervous about that, maybe you send more DMs. You'll find that it's pretty easy to send 3 DMs, especially once you start getting once you start getting a message, then you just copy and paste it. You could send 100, and I think there's a limit on direct messages on platforms, but it's higher than 3. So you could send at least like 5 to 10 a day if you wanted to. Okay, great. But what do I say at these meetings? Because now we talked about how to get them. We've focused on them. We know that we need them. But what do we actually say once we get these meetings? What do we say when we show up? Number 1, I've been hammering on this the whole presentation, but it's not about you. Focus on the result that the investor desires. This person wants to know what they can get out of this, what they stand to gain. They don't really care about you and your bio, right? No one really cares about your one-member LLC and that you're the CEO of a company that only exists on paper, right? Like nobody really cares, right? It's similar to when you order pizza. If you've ever ordered pizza, you really don't want to know the delivery guy's name, his personal information, any of that. You just want the guy to come to your house, give you the pizza, and then to leave. I've never once been like, hey, buddy, what's your name? Where'd you go to school? What's your bio? You just want the pizza and the guy to leave your house. And it's the same situation here. So number 2, you want to understand their current situation. And number 3, you want to understand where they want to go. So think of yourself as a doctor, not a salesman, not a pitch guy, not an investor relations dude. You're a doctor. You are finding out the symptoms, and then you're trying to diagnose the patient. There's no doctor in the history of being a doctor who just walks into the room, sees you for the first time, and just starts throwing prescription bottles at you. I've never seen that happen. I'm pretty sure that's malpractice. You're not allowed to do that, right? You have to understand the situation that they're in before you can tell them what you can do to help them or what prescription can help them, right? So we need to clearly understand their situation, and we want to set it and fix it in space. And what I mean by that is we want to make it to where it's not even a question where they are and where they want to be. We want to make those 2 points separate. So one thing I would do would be say, how much passive income are you making right now per month? And this person, maybe they say $2,000. So their current situation is $2,000 a month of passive income. That's fixed in space. There's no arguing where they are. It's 2,000. It's a number. It's an integer. Then we say, well, how much passive income do you want to have? And they may say 10 grand, 10,000. Okay, cool. So now there's no arguing. You want 10,000, you're at 2,000. So everyone here in the meeting can clearly see that there's an $8,000 gap here. So now all you have to do is talk about how multifamily is going to bridge that gap. That's all that this is. You're going to take them from where they are now. Multifamily, more importantly, is going to take them from where they are now to where they want to go. And that's literally all that you're doing. That's all you're doing. Keep focusing on that. How can I serve this person? How can I understand their situation better? And how can I understand where they want to go better? And then how can I take them there? How can I realistically help them? So number 4, tell them the benefits of real estate for them, right? Because this is going to help you bridge that gap. Then you want to show them a mock deal presentation. You want to be raising this capital prior to actually having a deal. So you want to you want to make a presentation of a deal similar to one that you would do in the future, similar to one that you're looking for to actually get right now. Because you need to develop these pre-existing relationships, because you can't just meet someone for the first time, hey, give me 50K. I don't think that's not going to work. You have to nurture a relationship, right? You have to start to slowly bring them in, show them a mock deal, get them interested in a mock deal, and then when the real deal comes, then you can start to ask for some hard commitments and things like that. But we want to show them a mock deal presentation. We want to build this rapport and this relationship immediately. So I'm going to show you guys part of my mock deal and how to go about it, the whole flow of it, and the psychology behind each section. So number 6, do you know anyone who would be interested in a deal like this? So for me, this is one of the most important parts of the presentation, because basically you want to make sure that no matter what, you're at least going to salvage a lead. So sometimes we misrepresent the person that we're meeting with. We often, we think they're in a financial situation and it turns out they're in a different one. So that's totally fine, no big deal. But the thing is, we need to make sure that we didn't just waste a whole hour of our time plus whatever it took you to commute to the meeting. So we're going to ask the question, do you know anyone who would be interested in a deal like this? Because if they're qualified, they'll say, oh yeah, me, I'm interested. They'll self-select. But if they're not qualified, then they say, oh, actually, and you've built this whole investor thing and this is at the end, so they're pretty warmed up to you. They're going to say, oh yeah, my buddy Bob, he just sold a tech company. He's looking for a place to invest. Fantastic, right? Now we go follow up with Bob. The meeting's not a waste. We still get a way to move forward, right? We want to make sure that, of course, we're there to help them. We're there to focus on them. But also, we can't just be going to meetings, willy-nilly and not, moving forward in any way, wasting our time. So we have to, at least get a lead out of this.